Hello everyone, this is Dr. Maha Abdurrahman. I'll be reviewing today the menstrual cycle, and it's a request for a lot of students that covers the school board Cambridge and Edexcel as well. Now, it is indeed a challenging part, but I'll try to simplify today as much as I can. So, when I start with the menstrual cycle, there are 4 hormones that affects the menstrual cycle: the FSH, estrogen, LH, and progesterone. And I really want to summarize this in one word. Okay, the word is FELP. FELP. Okay, so F for the FSH, E for the estrogen, L for the LH, and P for the progesterone. These hormones are released in the same order, so it's FSH, then estrogen, LH, and then progesterone. And these are released from, we'll remind you with the word POPO, from where they are released. So if I want to mention, for example, let me just use another color. For the FSH, it is released from P for pituitary gland, E, estrogen, is released from the ovary, P again for the pituitary gland, O for the ovary, okay? So LH from the pituitary gland, and P again from the ovary. So always remember FELP and POPO. Now let's go to more details about what each hormone is doing in the female reproductive system, since now we know each hormone is released from which location in the body. Okay, so I really like to use curves and graphs to facilitate that. So let's use the first stage 1 in the menstrual cycle, which extends from day 1 to day 4, which is basically the period time, or the time that we see the period in females released, which is basically when the uterus lining shed off or breaks off. Here we can see the blood for approximately 4 days. It differs from a female to another, but it's usually 4 days. Okay, at this stage 1, what happens is the start of the release of the FSH, or the follicle stimulating hormone. And from the name, you don't really need to memorize, it stimulates the follicle. That's a follicle stimulating hormone released from the pituitary gland. Don't forget the POPO, the FELP and the POPO. And this causes egg in the uterus to mature, okay, and to become a follicle. All right. Now, this estrogen also, FSH also will stimulate the ovary to release the estrogen. So, just let me go back to the page. Okay, here we go. So it will basically, this FSH will basically stimulate the ovary to produce the estrogen. Okay. Now, this will bring me to stage 2. In stage 2, which varies from day 4, or it is between day 4 to day 14. As you see here, between day 4 to 14, the lining of the uterus starts to build up. More cells start to grow. Okay, this is stimulated by the effect of estrogen. Again, always remember the POPO. Estrogen is produced in the ovaries, and this causes the cells in the uterus lining to grow. Why do I need that? So that it can be ready for after ovulation to implement and to welcome the follicle in case it's been fertilized. Now, This release of the estrogen from the ovary will stimulate the release of the LH hormone. Okay, so basically each one stimulates the release of the other hormone. So this will stimulate the release of the LH hormone, and at the same time it will inhibit the release of the SH. That's why if you look at here, you will find the FSH decreases in stage 2, while the LLH, look at the LH curve, it increases. It increases due to the release of the estrogen that also does an inhibition on the release of the FSH in the same time, where it makes an activation to the release of the LH. Okay, and that's for the estrogen. Now is the time for the LH that has been activated by the estrogen. Luteinizing hormone, don't forget the popo, so it is still produced from the pituitary gland. Okay, and this one stimulates the release of the egg from the ovary at the day of ovulation, which is usually 14. Okay, in some females it could be 13, it could be 15, but usually it is day 14, the day of the ovulation, where the egg will be released from the ovary to the fallopian tube. Okay, after that, this will bring me to stage 3, which is the ovulation at day 14. After that, this will bring me to stage 4. Stage 4 is after ovulation. Okay, this phase after the ovulation is characterized by good lining of the uterus. The lining of the uterus wall here is maintained up till day 28, so that it can be ready for the implementation of the fertilized ovule, as I mentioned. Okay, which hormone is responsible for the maintenance of this lining of the uterus? It's the progesterone. Okay, this phase, guys, is called luteal phase. That's an extra information. Okay, and before the ovulation is called follicular phase. Follicular phase and luteal phase. Okay, now progesterone produced in the ovary by the remnants of the follicle. Now the follicle, after the follicle is released, there is some remnants of the follicle. This is called corpus luteum. This name is not really required at your level, but just like an extra information. This remnant of the follicle produces progesterone, which is responsible for this good lining of the uterus that you see over here. If there is no fertilization that took place and no implementation of the ovule here inside the uterus, all of this lining will shed off, so we can, at day 28, so we can see our next period coming, and the blood will be coming out from the vagina, which is what's very characteristic for the start of the period. Okay, so that's what the progesterone does. In the same time, when this progesterone fall, as I mentioned, the lining will break. With this inhibits the release of LH and the FSH, and then the cycle starts again at day 1 with stimulation of the FSH hormone produced from the pituitary gland, causes the egg to mature. Then this will stimulate the ovary to produce estrogen. The estrogen now will make the cells of the uterus grow, getting ready for ovulation. This will inhibit the FSH and will stimulate the LH. Now the LH has been stimulated, produced from the pituitary gland, stimulate the ovulation at day 14. After that, the remnants of the follicle in the ovary will start to produce progesterone. Progesterone will keep the lining of the uterus thick to welcome to accept the fertilized ovule for the fertilized egg, if there is any. If there is no fertilized egg at that time, or no fertilization took place, no zygote has been formed, at day 28, this lining will break, will shed off. The female will see the period. This will inhibit all the LH and the FSH hormone, and a start of the new cycle will begin. I hope that was clear for everyone. Thank you for So I hope that was clear for everyone. I'm just trying to summarize it. It is simple when it's summarized for the benefit of everyone. And good luck in your exams. I really wish you the best. Thank you so much. See you in the next video.